What is up, FBG fam? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. So for today's video, I wanted to talk about the Raiden Shogun paired with Kokomi and how that pairing is, how well they synergize together, and all that good stuff. I told you I was going to provide you this video. I know it's a little bit late, but we're getting to it now, so I do hope you enjoy nonetheless. Now, if you want the quick answer, I think they synergize well, and I think they synergize well for various different reasons. But it's just not a pairing that I would recommend, and I'll go more in depth here in just a second. And it's not necessarily that I don't recommend it because they're not good together. I just don't recommend it because of Kokomi, the character herself. I got more in depth about this in the podcast, the latest one, episode 4. If you missed it, check it out. It's such a fun podcast. I have such a good time doing it. I think you'll enjoy it as well. If you're just grinding the game or if you're cooking dinner, got a long car drive, check out the podcast. It's a lot of fun. But I went in depth on the reasons why I don't think Kokomi is such a great character, but I'll kind of gloss over it in today's video as well. And this is not to crap on Kokomi. Let me just go ahead and explain that. I don't want to trash on this character because I know enough people have done that, and I know Kokomi mains are tired of it. And I would be too if Kokomi was my most favorite character and all I hear is people trashing on her. But I do have to explain the reasons why. Okay, so let's talk about the positives first. The Raiden Shogun and Kokomi together. It's a good pairing because they synergize in the fact of their elemental skills. You can proc the electro charge really nice and pretty efficiently, and it's not really a problem getting those off because you drop the jellyfish down and then you can drop the elemental skill for the Raiden Shogun or vice versa, and the electro charge is going to be really nice the whole time and you're not going to have any issues with that. Also with Kokomi's healing, going to keep the Raiden Shogun topped off for the most part, kind of. We'll get more in detail about that here in just a second, but especially if you have another shielder on the team like Zhongli, Diona, or whatever the case may be, the Raiden Shogun is going to be pretty healthy, right? And then with the electro charge going off, you can then do the Raiden Shogun's ult, and then you're doing some really good numbers. It's going to be some pretty good damage, and that's where the pairing is really nice. The rotation is not an issue that much unless you're really focusing on Kokomi's elemental burst and you're utilizing it to its like fullest potential, which I don't think you should. I'll go more into detail about that here in just a second. But all in all, the pairing is good. They synergize well. It's not bad, but it's not recommended. There's better pairings. There's a better Hydro character that you can pair with the Raiden Shogun, in my opinion, that will work out just fine. And I just don't think this pairing is needed, and I don't think Kokomi as a character is really needed at the moment, at least for right now. And the reason being is just because of the way Kokomi is. At the present time, Kokomi is just not a character that does a whole lot outside of throwing down the jellyfish, which they could have done so much more with that. I've already went in depth about my jellyfish thing, and I don't want to go more into detail about it. They could have done so much more with that, and the elemental burst seems just very underwhelming because the damage doesn't really warrant her being out there for 10 seconds in my opinion, and the healing is pretty decent, but it's not anything spectacular, right? So all in all, Kokomi just feels like a rushed character. She feels a little bit incomplete. They feel like I feel like they could have done so much more with this character, and they could have put more time and more effort, and they just, you know, rolled out the beta version and just let Kokomi go. That's my opinions, and that's just what I think about it. And so because of those reasons, it's not a pairing that you need to have inherently. But you can definitely make it work. Now, I will go ahead and preface it by stating my Kokomi is not the most decked out. But I don't think you really need to deck Kokomi out right now to get an understanding of what she's doing and what she's capable of. And like I mentioned, her elemental burst is just very lackluster. I mean, you're getting a bit of damage increase. You're then being able to heal on that. But because the damage is a bit lackluster and it's not that amazing, it just doesn't really warrant the elemental burst to be, you know, for you to do it and then leave her out there to get the healings to do some subpar damage. It's just not, it's not something that I really enjoy. And to be quite honest with you, and I mentioned this in the podcast, I think where Kokomi shines is within her elemental skills, but there's some flaws there as well. Their elemental skill, I think, is her highlight because it's a pretty decent AoE. It applies the Hydro pretty consistently, and you're getting healing off it and some damage as well. But the problem is that it's stationary and you can't reposition it. You can't even get a double jellyfish like I would like. And so it just becomes a problem. It just becomes a problem that I don't like and I'm not a fan of. And it just makes me upset, man. It makes me upset because this character is such a fantastic character design. This character could have been amazing, and it just feels rushed and it feels incomplete, and it makes me upset. And it's honestly just a shame, and I mentioned that in the podcast as well. I take a look at her passive skills, and they're just so lackluster in my opinion when it comes to the passive skills. The negative crit is just unwarranted. There was no reason to have that. I understand what they were trying to do, but it failed on so many different levels. It's not even funny. She just doesn't offer anything else outside of healing and some decent damage and applying the hydro for elemental reactions. Outside of that, there's nothing else going on with this character, and it makes me upset. It really does, because this character should have been amazing. This character should have been the greatest healer of all healers, bar none, hands down, and it shouldn't have even been a question, and she should have been doing some pretty good damage. But it just didn't turn out that way, and it's unfortunate. But if we're talking about her paired with the Raiden Shogun, it works. It's a good pairing. They synergize well together, and it's not bad at all, right? It's not bad at all. But the way I play Kokomi is probably different than most people. I don't even use the elemental burst, and if I do use the elemental burst, it's just to get the resolve stacks for my Raiden Shogun, so her elemental burst does more damage, if I'm being honest with you, and I can walk on water. That's about it. If I'm popping the elemental burst, that is the reason. Other than that, I'm throwing the jellyfish down, and then I'm getting Kokomi out of there. And then I'm going into other characters, doing their elemental skills, letting them do their thing, and then going into the Raiden Shogun and doing the elemental burst so I can get the electro charge, get all the reactions going. And I do have to say, the jellyfish with the electro charge is really nice, because if you have groups of enemies, you have mobs, it actually keeps them in place. It keeps them stunned, keeps them tased for quite some time, and it works out really well. I do like that. But that's where I mentioned Kokomi's highlight is within her damn jellyfish, and it shouldn't be that way. When I first saw this character, I thought it was going to be within her elemental burst, and I thought that would have been the first thing that you level up and max out and crown if you were going to crown this character, is the elemental burst, and that just simply was not the case, at least for me anyways. It's all within her jellyfish. The jellyfish is the bee's knees, it's pogs, but the problem with the jellyfish is that it's stationary, you can't reposition, so if you're running around doing other things and the enemies are following you, then the jellyfish is just useless. It's just floating there, doing nothing for no apparent reason, because you can't reposition it unless you utilize her first passive, where if you do the elemental burst, it refreshes the jellyfish. That's so stupid. They shouldn't have done that. You should have just been able to do it anyways. It shouldn't be within a passive, within an elemental burst. Why do you have to jump through so many hoops? I don't know. Anyways, just a quick video, guys. It's just a quick video to let you guys know that the pairing works. It's just not one that I would really recommend unless you're just a Kokomi lover or really enjoy this character. And once again, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to trash on this character, and I don't trash on the character. I state these things because I'm upset that the character is not better, and she should have been. And I had such high hopes and expectations for this character. And I will be the first to admit that I said this character's elemental burst was going to hit like a truck. I thought it was going to. And I am so sorry about that. I was mistaken. And I own up to that. I really do. I own up to it because I was mistaken. Her elemental burst is lackluster in my opinion. It's subpar at best. And I think Mihoyo missed a mark on this character. I understand what they were trying to do, and they were getting there. That's why I say she feels incomplete and she feels rushed, just like her story and her whole lore and everything behind her. But it feels like they just rushed her out and didn't fully complete it, because there's just some things within her kit, within her passive, within her elemental burst and elemental skill that just feels like they just stopped short. And they missed the mark on what they were trying to do, and it failed miserably. And it's a damn shame. It is a damn shame. But anyways, guys, quick video. I know I went more on a tangent and rant about Kokomi than I did this pairing, but there's just not much to say about this pairing. I'm going to be honest with you. They work well. You can make it work. They synergize. You get good electro charge, some decent healing. Allows the Raiden Shogun to hit a little bit harder, but outside of that, there's not much else to say, right? It's not too intricate. It's pretty cut and dry and straight to the point. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. And we should have episode 5 of the unofficial podcast for Genshin Impact maybe tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that. Should be a really good time. Also, if you want any gamer subs, I will have a link down in the description below. 10% off the entire store. Right now, they have 3 brand new waifu shaker cups that you can pre-order. Now, they're one time only, guys. So once they're gone, they're gone. They're collectibles. And I believe the last day that you can pre-order is September 26th, 2 days from now. So you're going to want to make sure you grab some because they are collectibles. And they sell out quickly also. Plus, there's merch, and the subs are all organic caffeine. They also have, coming out soon, caffeine-free. So if you want caffeine-free stuff, that's coming out very soon as well. Super exciting, everything going on over there. Check out the store. Use Further Beyond Gaming at checkout. I'm getting out of here. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. And until next time, my boys, until next time, it's your homie Cody GT, and I'm out. Bye, guys.